I wish we could mint California Representative Katie Porter because she's in a difficult district, Orange County, in California, and she wins, right? She's in a difficult race right now. She wins. But what is she doing? She's engaging her community more like very few do. What I love that she's doing is, first, she teaches people how to vote. In California, there's mail-in vote. She teaches them how to send in their mail-in votes. Perfectly done. What else does she do? She goes ahead and she makes the economic case. Look, the abortion case, all these other cases with respect to a woman's reproductive life, it's being made over and over again, and she makes it as well. But she understands something very important. You have to neutralize Republicans in order to get your entire message across. And if you listen to how she addressed all of this with O'Donnell, you see how I think if every congressperson did it this way, in easier districts than she has, they would be successful. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Early voting is officially underway in 40 states. In California, over 1.5 million mail-in ballots have already been sent. Our next guest, Democratic Representative Katie Porter, is seeking re-election to Congress, this time from California's newly drawn 47th district. Last week, Representative Katie Porter showed how easy it is to vote in California.
I'm Katie Porter, and I represent Orange County in Congress. There's an election on November 8th. Let me show you how simple it is to vote here in California. All registered voters were sent a ballot through the mail. It's so important we make our voices heard in this election. Control of the House and Senate are at stake, and that means abortion rights, climate action, gun violence prevention, and accountability are on the ballot. Once you've cast your vote, seal and sign the envelope. I'm headed to my nearest drop box, which is about 5 minutes from my house, to drop off my ballot. Orange County voters can find drop box locations at ocvote.gov. You can also send your ballot back through the mail. No stamps needed.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I want to begin with the bigger question of what does it mean to the country on which party controls the House of Representatives next year after this election?
Well, the stakes are incredibly high. They're high for women's reproductive freedom, for abortion rights. They're high for our climate crisis, but they're also high for issues that maybe aren't getting as much attention, including the future of Social Security and Medicare, programs that all working Americans rely on.
I have the ballot that you just showed. I have it at home on the kitchen table. I always know what I'm going to do in the big offices. But that ballot, as you know, goes down into the state legislative offices. In California, it has judges. Not all states elect judges, but California does. And many of us get a little lost the farther down that ballot we go. How important is it when we're reaching down there below the federal offices to vote for those state legislative offices?
It's incredibly important to vote down the ballot because to solve most of the problems that Americans care about, including problems like the climate crisis, health care, housing affordability, we have to have the right leaders at the federal, state, county, and local level. And I think there were a lot of moments during the pandemic that really showed that, where we provided funds to states and counties. They could invest those resources in helping to address things like hunger, making sure that we could keep firefighters and law enforcement working. So we have to have the right partners. Climate change is, for example, is not something you can solve at any one level of government.
Talk about the inflation, which all polls are showing is the #1 issue that's on swing voters' minds.
Well, voters don't like getting cheated and they don't like getting lied to. And that's what's happening right now. They're getting price gouged, getting overcharged at the grocery store, at the pump for so many goods and services. And then corporations are telling them, oh, it's a supply chain issue. Oh, it's not our fault. But the proof's in the pudding. About half of what we're seeing in corporate profit margins right now is coming from those boosts to the bottom line. So about half of the inflation inflationary effect is coming from corporate profit margins, and the other half is the added cost of input or the added cost of labor. And so I think Americans sense this. They're filling up at the pump and seeing prices go up and down. We have CEOs saying on earnings calls, CEOs of multinational global corporations saying on earnings calls things like, quote, a little bit of inflation is good because it lets them raise their prices.
According to this chart, what is the biggest driver of inflation during the pandemic? The blue is the dark blue is the recent period.
It would be corporate profits.
And what is that percentage?
It is 54%, and that number does stay that level of high if you update that number to more recent numbers as well.
So over half of the increased prices people are paying are coming from increases in corporate profits.
Yes, the unit price index is reflected in corporate profits as opposed to other costs.
What do your colleagues say when you make these points? You make them in a way that it seems translatable to the campaign arena. Or do your colleagues use some of these points the way you describe them?
Well, I certainly hope so, because look, voters want to hear about it. They're going to the grocery store. I'm going to the grocery store. We're filling up our gas tanks. We're trying to purchase things. So it's on voters' minds, and you just need to tackle it straight up and have the courage to stand up to big corporations and tell the truth. They are cheating us, and we're all paying the price. Our overall economy is paying the price. Nobody more so, by the way, than our seniors who are on fixed incomes and retirees. They want to see someone who will protect Social Security and Medicare and stand up to corporations who are making it hard for them to take care of themselves in their later years.
Republicans, if they had said something that in any way is related to inflation as a point they're making on the campaign trail, I would raise it to you now, and I would challenge you with it now. But they have not. There is not one anti-inflation proposal that Republicans have. They have a giant tax cut proposal, which is not anti-inflationary in any way. They seem to be interested in going back to a world in which there's absolutely no inhibitions on prescription drug prices, which is, in fact, inflationary. What do you say when voters say to you, we want to switch to Republicans because of inflation?
They get that Republicans are playing the blame game. But what they want to hear from Democrats is that we are on top of this and we are willing to fight to do something about it. So Republicans are simply pointing fingers at Democrats, but Democrats need to come back to voters and say, they're just pointing fingers. We have solutions. We see the issues. We see the challenges. Here's what we've done, and we know there's more to do. You can trust us to do it.
This is one of the reasons why I so love Katie Porter, because she's a very complex woman. She understands the complexity of the economy, women issues, environmental issues, and all the issues that concerns not only progressives, but all Americans. But most importantly, she knows how to put this message in a form that, in a bread and butter form, a form that every American can understand. So folks, 12 days left. Take Katie Porter's lead. Put the case onto the Republicans as it should. Has done a great job here on the economic message. There's also other messaging that must be done in the crime arena, where it is that Republicans don't know how to solve crimes because it is they who are the genesis of the increase in violent crimes with their gun policies. And if you need any illustration on that, check out the 5 states with the worst case of murder, or red states. The 8 of the 10 states with the highest crime rate, red states. All of that is indicative that they don't know what they're doing. And if they want to impart on America what they've imparted on the parts of the country they are running, then that is not what Americans want, and that needs to be taken care of now. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.